Ready to fall in love with sourdough bread? You're going to love this buttery, flaky croissant loaf. To make the loaf, you'll want to roll your dough into a rectangle here, and you're going to get it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. And so I'll periodically take where it ends up kind of oval and help form it into a rectangle. And you'll roll it from each direction. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but you want to get it to where it's at least 12 inches or so in the one direction to make room for your butter block. Your butter block, I have other videos on how to prepare that, but you're basically smashing 1 stick of butter between parchment, and then you freeze it for about 30 minutes. So here's the butter block that I had prepared earlier. And you'll just place the strip right down the center of your rolled out rectangle. Sometimes the butter will stick to your parchment, and you can just use your bench scraper to get as much off because you want all that buttery goodness in your loaf. And then you're going to fold, well, this loaf I also added the black garlic and Parmesan and some Italian seasonings. So before we fold it together, we're putting the black garlic on there and the Italian seasoning and some ground Parmesan. And then we'll fold the left side and right side together. You're going to overlap it just a little bit. And notice my butter's sticking out a little bit on the ends. So I folded the ends up. And then you're going to press that real flat to about 1/4 of an inch again. So it ends up being a nice long rectangle. And then I spread some more black garlic on there and more Italian herbs. And let's not forget the Parmesan. We served this with spaghetti and meat sauce, and it was so good. And you'll press your toppings in a little bit, and then fold the top down and the bottom up, and then fold it in half again. And then you're going to wrap that in the parchment from your butter block. May as well reuse that. And then stick it in the freezer for about 30 minutes. That's going to keep the butter nice and cold so that it actually has the layers in the croissant loaf. Now, once we've pulled it out of the freezer, you're going to roll it out again into a little bit smaller rectangle this time. And since the dough's frozen, it takes a little bit more to push on it. And you'll get it to about 1/4 of an inch. And it definitely takes more pressure since the dough was frozen. Now, I use a pizza cutter to cut this into little 1-inch strips. And this was a technique I picked up from at Angie's Rising Sourdough. She made the first viral croissant loaf that I saw, and I tried her recipe and loved it, so that's the one I've stuck with. Now here, I'm just basting it with water so that the pieces stick together better. And then you'll stack them on top of each other. And then you turn the stack on its side. And that water really helps them kind of stick together in layers. Now, I like to dry the surface off because I get a lot of water on it. So I dried it off and then just kind of lightly moved my flour over so that when I roll it out again, it's not going to stick to the cutting board there. And now you'll take your stack of 1-inch high dough and you're going to roll that back out to about 1/4 of an inch again. And you can see all our herbs and cheese and goodness in there. And you want to keep it as rectangular as possible. And you want the width to be about the length of your loaf pan. So it's going to be about 8 to 9 inches wide there. And of course, more black garlic and Italian herbs and Parmesan. I ran out of Parmesan, so I'm using the rest of what I had in my fridge shaker container. And then once you get your additional toppings on there, you can use your bench scraper to kind of help you get it started rolling it up. It sticks to the counter a little bit, so that's where the bench scraper really helps you get it started. And then when you get it most of the way rolled up, you'll take the other end and pull it up and pinch it together. And then you're going to want to put this seam side down in your loaf pan. And sometimes you have to kind of push it together a little bit, and there's what it looks like in the loaf pan, and you'll let it do a second proofing before baking.